All right, so what Unit 2 looks at next is it looks at the movement out west. It looks at uh, the pursuit of manifest destiny. The idea is that the white European stock should be ruling North America from coast to shining coast, or sea to shining sea, pardon me. Let me get the song right. And so it talks about the spread west. Of course, that's going to be helped by this new transcontinental railroad that really was going into play before the Civil War starts. But with the increase in production because of the Civil War, with the whole idea of gosh, we're now a technologically, we're now a production community, we're now all about this huge ability to produce thanks to new ideas on how to refine steel. Okay, that we have now these brand new workable steam engines, these locomotives. The idea that in the East we can implement the use of electricity, that we're seeing the introduction of the advances of technology with Morse code and telegraph is huge because it allows this push westward thanks to this industrial revolution here. A lot changes. We can now supply more. This is really going to be enhanced by a little thing called the California Gold Rush, thanks to the discovery of gold in Sutter's Mill, thanks to the discovery of silver in the Comstock lode in the Nevada area. We're going to see a huge push to go westward and go westward quickly. I mean, California goes from being a backwoods territory to a state and nothing flat because of the effects of the discovery of gold and the push westward. We know originally it starts either A, we're going to go ahead and use wagon trains, right? We're going to take the Oregon Trail, we're going to go out west, or we're going to take a ship, and the ship is going to sail all the way down the East Coast, all the way around South America, all the way up the West Coast of South America until you get to San Francisco. And San Francisco is going to be the port there because it's closest to the gold fields. It's a major port, everything else. So the thing is we start to look at this as a new state. We start to look at this as a hub of sprouting areas. Things going to pop up. When we're doing this railroad, we're going to hire an awful lot of people. We need a lot of people. If you are building east, going west, then you're going to hire a lot of folks of color that used to be slaves. You're going to hire the next closest thing to a person of color at this particular point, not to offend anybody, but it's going to be an Irishman, right? Because again, they're fresh off the boat. They are considered low level society. And I say that as somebody of Irish heritage, but they're considered ethnically inferior at this particular point. And so, you're going to hire who you can at the lowest amount of wage to do all this hard labor work. They're going to build this railroad going west. Now, if you are building from the west and coming east, you're not going to see a whole lot of Irish. What you're going to see is a whole lot of influx of people of Chinese descent that are going to be hired. They're coming in literally by the boatload. Now, I not being mean about that, but they're coming in seeking not their fortune, but seeking a new life, seeking to come in, make some money, build a nest egg, and then go back home to China and take this with them. And so they have a new living out there. And so we're going to see this. Well, once we get this railroad built, it's going to change the standard. We're going to turn around and realize that the folks in California are going to go, whoa, oh my goodness, we have a lot more Chinese folks than what we thought we did. They seem to be owning land. They seem to be owning business. They seem to be taking money out of our pocket. They seem to. The old story when it comes to certain stages. I'm sorry in California, but again, as an ex-Californian, I can say that with no fear of reprisal. When we no longer need people of whatever national origin we imported from, that we want to go ahead and send them back, we want to make laws to exclude them, we're going to see the rise of the Chinese Exclusion Act pop up. That's important because it changes the dynamic of what California is about. With this spread westward, We see the taming of the plains. We see the taming of the West. We see the taming of the mountains. One of the things that pops up is going to be the Homestead Act. Check out the video that's posted on the Westward rush that is about the taming of the West and the giving away of those last homestead lands in Oklahoma. And it tells you about this grab for land, and this is huge because we're going to find ways to make the West profitable, whether it is learning to use John Deere's singing plow, his steel plow, to bust up the sod that is, the plains, whether it is learning to use things like hydraulic mining to wear down the mountains in California, the mountains in Nevada, to find a faster way to get at what it is we want, whether it is trying to subdivide the plains and say wide open fields of Texas, because we're going to see an increase of farmers come out who want to be able to farm their land in peace, but it turns out they're in the middle of the wide open cattle ranges, and so they're going to see the introduction of barbed wire. You're going to see the range wars, and the range wars are going to be against cattle farmers and regular farmers. They don't like each other because the cattle ranchers think, hey, this is wide open land. We've always had it. We don't like your, wire in here interfering with our grazing, and it's cutting up our cattle. What I find is interesting is when it comes to the farmers and the cattle ranchers, both of them heat to the sheep ranchers, because sheep will actually go ahead and eat things down past the roots and ruin the land they're on. The other thing you see popping up in addition to hydraulic mining is going to be agribusiness. We figure out that if you mechanize business, that, hey, look, we can go ahead and we can use this plow in such a way that we can plant more land. We can use this reaper if we mechanize it, and we can pull a whole fleet of reapers with a whole team of mules or horses and harvest fields on a whole different level than one poor man out there with a scythe, just trying to, with his family, harvest it. And so we find out that farming by big business, by these huge agricultural complexes, even early on, is going to make a difference. All this is going to be complicated because it turns out whether or not you want to rule the continent from coast to coast, whether or not you think there's a lot of wide open land out there, turns out that this wide open land has people that live there, that there is an existing civilization. And unfortunately, European Americans, former colonial Americans, pushed Native Americans off the land. They continue to do so because they don't have the brick and mortar, because they don't have the paper constitution, because they don't have the houses of Congress, because they don't have the litany of kings and queens to recite. We don't see them as organized, civilized people in this standard, and so we kind of claim the right of discovery. We claim the right of conquest. We say, listen, we are better equipped. We have better guns. We have better weapons. We have better uses for the land. There's more of us than you. And in this case, we say that might makes right. We're going to push them off. We're going to go ahead and, as I said before, shift from shooting each other between the North and the South to turn those brand new guns, those brand new weapons on the Native Americans and push them westward. We know that Jackson is responsible for moving them to Indian country with the Trail of Tears, and now we're going to subdivide Indian country and push them even farther west and continue the conquest. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about things like the Great Sioux War and the Peace Commissions and the Sand Creek Massacre in the next video.